together for so long is one of the reasons why they have won so much, and also one of the favourites, as I said, for this race.
So they might smash your record.
Maybe do, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of other people that want to do it as well.
So I think we can now, Liz has had a chat with your fellow countryman, Mr. David Coulthard.
Well, here I am on the grid at Le Mans, and I've just managed to run into David Coulthard. What a treat. What are you doing here today, other than the obvious?
Well, you know, this is my third time at Le Mans. I raced here once in '93. I came once to watch a buddy of mine, Martin Brundle, race, and I'm here to see Mark Webber because he was a teammate of mine, and we were chatting at an event, and he said, you should come to Le Mans. So I was like, okay, I'm coming. So here I am, and it's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible this year, and I think that's because we're about to see one of the most epic battles in the LMP1 class we've ever seen. Have you been watching the qualifying so far? How do you think it's going to pan out?
Well, what I have been paying attention to, and I definitely don't have my finger on the pulse, but what's quite clear is that Audi didn't really enter the qualifying battle. You know, Porsche have done that very well and set new records, but I think the race is definitely, the Audi cars are going to be strong, so it's going to be interesting to see just how quickly or how hard they can push the Porsche guys. And then it's such a tough race here, so many things, you know, the reliability.
Here first from a man who should know. So as we build up to the race, let's take a moment to look at one of the stars of the Le Mans 24 Hours this year, but not necessarily up until now in the world of driving. Someone who's kind of put behind them their acting career to take this job seriously. It's Patrick Dempsey.
After 2 years at Le Mans, Grey's Anatomy star Patrick Dempsey has had enough of being a celebrity guest in the biggest race in the world. Now he's walked away from the show and intensified his race preparation as a full-time racer. This year, he wants to win.
It's challenging, certainly, because you have to, you know, I'm leaving something that I'm very successful in and it's very easy. And I'm putting myself in a place that is incredibly uncomfortable, that is challenging, that is a struggle. But there's something that is, it eliminates your ego. You have to let your ego go, because as soon as your ego gets in the way, you're done. And when you start to think too much, you're out of the moment. The journey itself is really within yourself, and how you confront that, and how you push yourself past your uncomfort and your insecurities and come out the other side of it. It has nothing to do with who you're competing against at all. And that's the stuff that you find in the wee hours of the morning when you're out in bad weather, or you're tired and you're having to push through, and it's your responsibility to then carry the momentum of the team. And those are the things that are the greatest challenges. And there's something at the end of the race where you look back and you're like, I should have enjoyed the moment more. And then I think that's true for life, and you want to live at that level. And I think this year's been a big step, because I don't want to live in a compromised place anymore. And, you know, that's what's important to me.
You gave so much for this journey, for this moment in Le Mans. What could make you be happy on Sunday?
Winning Le Mans would be. I think that's an extension of living all those other moments, right? You know, but it all has to come together. So if you win that, it's, you know, yeah, that's what you want to do. You know, that's what it's all about.
Thank you, Patrick.
Dr. McDreamy, and the car, Porsche number 77 that he will be driving, will start row 23, and it's got Pat Long at the wheel to begin the race. Now, we are only half an hour away from the start of the race. We're going to take a quick break, because in this first part we've had the pole sitter and some brilliant interviews, but believe me, stick with Le Mans 24 minutes, plenty more to come before the race starts. Hello and welcome back to Le Mans 24 Minutes, where we are about 25 minutes away from the race getting underway. We are on the pit wall here. The grandstands are absolutely packed. The atmosphere is incredible as the cars prepare to leave the grid and start their formation lap as we build up to the Le Mans 24 Hours. Now, this is still the classic circuit of La Sarthe. A few minor changes, a little bit more tarmac on the outside of one of the Porsche curves. But let's have a look at this famous circuit and a few statistics set by the Audi team last year.
So here's the bit for the stats nerds. The Circuit de la Sarthe, still incredibly long, 13.6 kilometres in length. The first race back in 1923. Fastest lap from last year, 3 minutes 22.567. The most wins, of course, it's Mr. Le Mans, Tom Kristensen. The most starts since 1923, Henri Pescarolo, 33 starts in all, and a total of 8 hours of darkness. The winning car in 2014, the number 7 Audi, covered 5,167.13 kilometres at an average speed of 214. Last completed 379 laps in total, 29 pit stops, and just look at the stats for how quickly they go through each of the corners and down the straights. It's an amazing test of car and machine.
It's a lot of data to take on board. How do I make this work? Just switch it off and on again. We are live at Le Mans on Eurosport, the Le Mans 24 minutes. Now, I think, obviously I haven't introduced them properly. Liz Halliday, who's raced here, and Adelaide are our pit reporters. So Adelaide, I think, is with Kiwi Brendan Hartley.
Brendan, few minutes only before the start of the race. What is your main feeling right now?
Yeah, we're excited. You know, we've been preparing for this race since this time last year, and the time's finally come. You know, I woke up this morning, it felt like Christmas Day. You know, we've been talking about this for so long. We're ready. We're as prepared as we can be, and we can't wait for the race to start.
What an impressive timing yesterday night, but the question will be more the reliability for 24 hours. What could be your expectation?
Yeah, we hope to get to the end without any problems, and that's going to be the key to success over the next 24 hours.
Sitting in the car with Tom Kristensen.
What better way to build up to the Le Mans 24 hours than a lap with the master?
We're going through the entrance. Very good corner coming out. Accelerating to parting, right corner, empty bank, easy to get a little bit of push, flat out from this pass, and boom, one lap around this great circuit. The look on Adelaide's face during that lap is priceless. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Beyond gut feeling, obviously you're representing Audi, but how do you feel it's going to go?
It's too close to call, to be honest. The Porsches are extremely fast over one lap. I think our race pace is close and on par with them, but I'm not really sure where the Toyotas are. They haven't been as quick as I expected, and normally they're very reliable, so I think it's a little bit close to call. What we do know is that it is going to be a blinder, probably one of the best ever.
Well, you heard it here from the man who should know. He's won this race and driven it so many times. Now, as you know, this is a 24-minute program. It's a 24-hour race, but everything started 7 days ago when we arrived in France.
The glitz and the glamour of Le Mans has been bigger and better than ever this year, and since last weekend the fans have been pouring into the grandstands and campsites in their thousands. The talk has all been about who will win this incredible duel: Audi, Porsche, Toyota or Nissan. When qualifying began on Wednesday, we knew it would be a fascinating fight to watch, but nobody expected a total domination from Porsche, who qualified first, second and third for the 83rd running of the Le Mans 24 Hours. Audi are in the next 3 grid slots, with the Toyotas struggling for 1 lap pace on row 4. The Nissans will start at the back of the prototype grid after a technical infringement, but they were 20 seconds a lap behind pole, even without the penalty. It really is too close to call. KCMG hold the advantage on the LMP2 grid elsewhere after some sensational runs from Matt Howson, Richard Bradley and Nicolas Lapierre. In the GTs, Aston Martin lead the way in both GT classes, with 3 Aston Martins in the top 4, with the 51 Ferrari throwing their hat into the ring in second overall. But whilst the cars are the stars, the openness of the paddock has not been lost on the fans, and the drivers have been hard at work, signing their name away. Even Mr. Le Mans himself hasn't really slowed down this week.
And you can believe me that that book signed by Tom Christensen is in my suitcase, ready to go home. You're watching Le Mans 24 Minutes as we build up to the greatest endurance sports car race in the world. Yesterday, the drivers were out doing the driver parade. Alan McNish, what's your role here? Because there's quite a few drivers in the team who aren't so experienced. I guess you're working with them.
Yeah, there's a few things. One, I'm an ambassador for the group, so there's marketing and PR, which is going to be quite busy, I'll tell you, over this one. But on the other side of it, my heart's in racing, still is, even though I don't have the helmet on any longer. And you're right, car number 9, which is the car with the young guys in it, trying to impart a little bit of experience, give them a bit of guidance. The things you should do is one thing, they know that, but it's the things you should be careful of here at Le Mans, and there's quite a few of those en route. But at the end of the day, everybody here is sort of supporting the whole team. It's not just each car individuals, there's a big package part of it, which is one of the strengths, I think, of Audi.
Well, it's certainly one of the strengths of Audi, but I think it's Porsche's on pole, and I believe Liz got an interview with the pole sitter Neil Yanni.
I'm very pleased to be here with Neil Yanni, the pole sitter who broke so many records, the first Swiss driver on the pole since 1968, and a new lap record.
Yeah, it's a great part of history for me, definitely. But we know, for a 24-hour race, that's just about prestige. It's not for performance. It's always good to start on pole, and the way we did it, I'm happy. But the big work starts now.
So, of course, you're about to lead this huge field out onto the circuit for the start of this 24-hour race. What's going to be the strategy for now? I know we have the new tire rule, only 12 sets of tires. It's going to be tricky with a dry race.
Definitely. We have to take care of the tires. We don't know what the weather does tomorrow morning yet. We'll have to see if we go immediately for 4 stints or not. That's the plan, and from there we take it.
Okay, good luck.
So here at the Audi garage, in a moment we're going to speak to Benoit Trellier, but interestingly we've got Raj behind us. Yesterday a huge announcement from Ford that they're bringing a GT supercar back to Le Mans to try and win in 2016. Was that a surprise? What do you think that'll do for the race next year?
I think it's a fantastic news, huge manufacturer, and also an iconic brand here at Le Mans. It was 50 years ago next year since they had that titanic battle with Ferrari, and they're just going to replay it again because we've got Ferrari here, now we've got Ford here, then you've got Porsche in there and Corvette and all the other manufacturers. It's just building itself up, and I think it's superb that they're back, and superb that they're bringing, like you say, that super car.
It looks so good, that brand new Ford GT for next year. I believe Adelaide managed to catch up with Benoit Trellier.
Benoit, obviously it's always a very special moment to be here at the very starting line of the 24 hours of...
Yeah, it's a very special moment. You see all the people here. The atmosphere is great. You know, it's a very unique atmosphere in Le Mans. It's the race of the year, and we are really proud to be here and in front of a row in the best car. It's really good. It's a very good feeling, and I have been lucky that Henri Pescarolo came to me to support me. I was very happy with that.
Yes, because you are only just behind him in the victory numbers. What could you expect you for the race?
No, I mean, I'm not running especially after that. You know, I don't want to break his record. Absolutely, it's not my target. My target is to have a big pleasure here, to enjoy the race. Of course, to win, but not after the records. And but to see him, you know, he teach me so many things for Le Mans, and it's because of him that I won already 3 times, and also because I was in the best car. And so it's good to have his support still now, even if he knows that I'm close to be same as him on the break record.
Thank you, Benoit. All the best.
So as the drivers start to make their way back to the pit boxes, we are 40 minutes away from the start of the world's greatest endurance sports car race. Talking to Benoit Treluyer there, what can you tell us briefly about him and the position he's in now as a 3-time winner?
Well, Ben came into the team just a few years ago, and when he came in, he settled very, very well. He adapted to the sort of German way of doing things that Audi have extremely well. And I think with him, Marcel and Andre, they've built a really strong unit. It reminds me very much of Tom Christensen, Dindo Capello and I, where they were a triumvirate and you knew what they were going to do. You knew that they were going to deliver. And that team, I would say, is the fact they've been together for so long is one of the reasons why they have won so much, and also one of the favourites, as I said, for this race.
So they might smash your record.
Maybe do, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of other people that want to do it as well.
So I think we can now, Liz has had a chat with your fellow countryman, Mr. David Coulthard.
Well, here I am on the grid at Le Mans, and I've just managed to run into David Coulthard. What a treat. What are you doing here today, other than the obvious?
Well, you know, this is my 3rd time at Le Mans. I raced here once in '93. I came once to watch a buddy of mine, Martin Brundle, race, and I'm here to see Mark Webber because he was a teammate of mine, and we were chatting at an event, and he said, you should come to Le Mans. So I was like, okay, I'm coming. So here I am, and it's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible this year, and I think that's because we're about to see one of the most epic battles in the LMP1 class we've ever seen. Have you been watching the qualifying so far? How do you think it's going to pan out?
Well, what I have been paying attention to, and I definitely don't have my finger on the pulse, but what's quite clear is that Audi didn't really enter the qualifying battle. You know, Porsche have done that very well and set new records. But I think the race is definitely, the Audi cars are going to be strong. So it's going to be interesting to see just how quickly or how hard they can push the Porsche guys. And then it's such a tough race here. So many things, you know, the reliability, drivers' fatigue, issues, traffic, all those things can play their part. So we have to wait and see, be patient.
Well, thanks so much. Enjoy the race.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
So David Coulthard looking very sharp there on the grid, not in his racing suit. Let's look at the Porsche. They're locked out the front row of the grid. Car number 17, they're clearly pushing for win number 17 at Porsche. What can you tell us about that team, in particular Mark Webber? Has he settled into endurance racing?
Yeah, well, Mark, when I started, and I was actually with Porsche when he was with Mercedes at the time back in the late 90s, then he settled in very well to sports car racing. But it changed a lot in those years, I can tell you. And I think it really took him probably 6 or 7 races to find his feet again, but now he's got it. They're very quick. They're very quick over one lap. They're also very quick over different parts of the circuit to the Audi and the Toyota. So from a racing point of view, it'll mix it up massively. But I think you're going to have to wait to hour 3 or hour 4 before you see that battle settling into position.
Well, I think Adelaide managed to catch a very quick word with Mr. Aussie Grit himself, Mark Webber.
Unbelievable. This crowd is huge. Biggest crowd I've seen on the grid. We've got, it's great to have David Coulthard here. The guys, it's a sensational atmosphere. Long race ahead of us, but we're excited. We need the race start now. We just need to get into the rhythm.
Thank you, Mark.
Alan Manish, I think you're just saying you're going to have to leave us here, so we'll say goodbye now if that's all right. Real pleasure.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you over the 24 hours.
Oh, you definitely will.
Everyone at home, hope you have a fantastic one, because here we will have, that's for sure.
You heard it here first from a man who should know. So as we build up to the race, let's take a moment to look at one of the stars of the Le Mans 24 Hours this year, but not necessarily up until now in the world of driving. Someone who's kind of put behind them their acting career to take this job seriously. It's Patrick Dempsey.
After 2 years at Le Mans, Grey's Anatomy star Patrick Dempsey has had enough of being a celebrity guest in the biggest race in the world. Now he's walked away from the show and intensified his race preparation as a full-time racer. This year, he wants to win.
It's challenging, certainly, because you have to, you know, I'm leaving something that I'm very successful in and it's very easy. And I'm putting myself in a place that is incredibly uncomfortable, that is challenging, that is a struggle. But there's something that is, it eliminates your ego. You have to let your ego go, because as soon as your ego gets in the way, you're done. When you start to think too much, you're out of the moment. The journey itself is really within yourself, and how you confront that and how you push yourself past your uncomfort and your insecurities and come out the other side of it. It has nothing to do with who you're competing against at all. And that's the stuff that you find in the wee hours of the morning when you're out in bad weather, or you're tired and you're having to push through, and it's your responsibility to then carry the momentum of the team. And those are the things that are the greatest challenges. And there's something at the end of the race where you look back and you're like, I should have enjoyed the moment more. And then I think that's true for life, and you want to live at that level. And I think this year's been a big step, because I don't want to live in a compromised place anymore. And, you know, that's what's important to me.
You gave so much for this journey, for this moment in Le Mans. What could make you be happy on Sunday?
Winning Le Mans would be. I think that's an extension of living all those other moments, right? You know, but it all has to come together. So if you win that, it's, you know, yeah, that's what you want to do. You know, that's what it's all about.
Thank you, Patrick.
Dr. McDreamy and the car, Porsche number 77 that he will be driving, will start row 23, and it's got Pat Long at the wheel to begin the race. Now, we are only half an hour away from the start of the race. We're going to take a quick break, because in this first part we've had the pole sitter and some brilliant interviews, but believe me, stick with Le Mans 24 minutes, plenty more to come before the race starts. Hello and welcome back to Le Mans 24 minutes, where we are about 25 minutes away from the race getting underway. We are on the pit wall here. The grandstands are absolutely packed. The atmosphere is incredible as the cars prepare to leave the grid and start their formation lap as we build up to the Le Mans 24 Hours. Now, this is still the classic circuit of La Sarthe. A few minor changes, a little bit more tarmac on the outside of one of the Porsche curves. But let's have a look at this famous circuit and a few statistics set by the Audi team last year.
So here's the bit for the stats nerds. The Circuit de la Sarthe, still incredibly long, 13.6 kilometers in length. The first race back in 1923. Fastest lap from last year, 3 minutes 22.567. The most wins, of course, it's Mr. Le Mans, Tom Christensen. The most starts since 1923, Henri Pescarolo, 33 starts in all, and a total of 8 hours of darkness. The winning car in 2014, the number 7 Audi, covered 5,167.13 kilometers at an average speed of 214. Last completed 379 laps in total, 29 pit stops, and just look at the stats for how quickly they go through each of the corners and down the straights. It's an amazing test of car and machine.
It's a lot of data to take on board. How do I make this work? Just switch it off and on again? We are live at Le Mans on Eurosport, the Le Mans 24 minutes. Now, I think, obviously I haven't introduced them properly. Liz Halliday, who's raced here, and Adelaide are our pit reporters. So Adelaide, I think, is with Kiwi Brendan Hartley.
Brendan, few minutes only before the start of the race. What is your main feeling right now?
Yeah, we're excited. You know, we've been preparing for this race since this time last year, and the time's finally come. You know, I woke up this morning, it felt like Christmas Day. You know, we've been talking about this for so long. We're ready. We're as prepared as we can be, and we can't wait for the race to start.
What an impressive timing yesterday night, but the question will be more the reliability for 24 hours. What could be your expectation?
Yeah, we hope to get to the end without any problems, and that's going to be the key to success over the next 24 hours. If we can keep the car out of the garage, I think the results will come. The pace is definitely there. Audi looks very close as well. It's going to be very hard fought, but it's probably going to be won. Whoever can keep the car fresh until the end. No mistakes, no reliability issues. You know, look after it, but still with a very, very fast pace.
Thank you, Brandon.
So brilliant job by our pit reporters there, Adelaide and Liz, controversially not in the new ladies pavilion, but working very hard on the pit lane, getting very good interviews. In fact, Adelaide's been particularly lucky. This weekend, Tom Christensen, 9-time Le Mans winner, will lead the race in 28 minutes. He will launch the field driving the Audi, but Adelaide was very lucky because she got an exclusive look at this circuit, sitting in the car with Tom Christensen.
What better way to build up to the Le Mans 24 hours than a lap with the master?
We're going to the SS. Very good corner coming out. Accelerating to parking, right corner, and we should get a little bit of push, flat out from this pass, and boom, one lap around this great circuit.
The look on Adelaide's face during that lap is priceless. And speaking to Tom Christensen, he genuinely isn't sure if he's going to be able to stop after he's done the formation lap. He might just keep going. It will not be in his nature not to start the Le Mans 24 hours. Now, just quickly look this way. Sad news in qualifying is that this Chevrolet Corvette had a major crash. Jan Magnussen, the 63, will not take part in the race today. But in the LMP2 category, this is the car on pole. And I think Liz has an interview with the pole sitter, Richard Bradley.
I'm here with Richard Bradley, the LMP2 pole sitter. Now, this is only your second Le Mans. You're just 23 years old. You've led from the absolute beginning of the qualifying sessions. What an impressive debut.
It's very, very nice for me. You know, it's quite special. You know, to be honest, I'm a little bit annoyed because somebody told me that we had some traffic on the lap. If we didn't, I would have got the lap record as well. So, you know, from an ego side, that's a bit annoying. But, no, it's been very good. But, you know, it's nice to have made an impression and everything. But now we got the big one today.
deal with. So everything's done with. We start a fresh slate. I'll be starting the race, and you know, it's good really, because with this race, everyone says, oh, the start's quite nerve-wracking, but for me, it's 24 hours. You know, if you get into a bit of a situation, you don't have to worry so much. So no, I'm really excited, and I'm just going to enjoy the moment because that's all I've done all week, and it's been going well so far.
Now, I'm right in thinking that this will be your first time starting at Le Mans. What an incredible experience that's going to be.
It's amazing. You know, you watch this on TV as a kid and everything. Yeah, you see the pictures, you hear the fanfare, you see there's a ridiculous number of people already, and it's still, you know, over an hour to the start of the race. So I'm very, very excited. But we got 24 hours to go, so I'm more concerned with how well I'll sleep tonight.
Well, I think that's the right way to be approaching this, and we wish you luck. Just enjoy the moment. Thank you.
So clearly that was recorded a little while ago, because now it is only 23 minutes until the start of the race. The atmosphere is buzzing, the grid is forming, the crowds, the campsites, and everyone around the world watching are buzzing, ready for this to get started. So let's go to a commercial break, and you come straight back when Le Mans 24 Minutes continues. Welcome back to Le Mans 24 Minutes. Timo Bernhard and Neil Yanni are in their cars, ready to lead the grid out for the start of the Le Mans 24 Hours. The front row lockout and number 3 lockout by Porsche, and then the Audis behind them. Of course, there are many races in the lead up to this, support races. You would have seen earlier the Legends, the Le Mans Legends race on live on Eurosport. You're live on Eurosport now. I'm Neil Cole. Hello. There was also the Aston Martin Festival race. Let's have a look at the highlights of that.
As part of the build-up to the race, later on today, the 24 Hours itself, the Aston Martin Racing Festival wowed the crowds with many GT cars and even a few prototypes around the circuit as well. Some great wheel-to-wheel battles throughout, with Beach Dean and various other well-known names in the world of Aston Martin making their debuts around the circuit. But not everybody had a great race, as Stuart Hall was able to tell Liz Halliday after the red flag.
I'm here with Stuart Hall, which should have been the winner of this very prestigious Aston Martin race. Stewie, what really happened out there? This should have been a great warm-up for you for the 24 Hours today.
Yeah, we only did 2 laps because the car, there was a safety car. Well, let me take you back to the start. We were going to do the race where I was going to have a lap penalty, a slightly longer pit stop to sort of make it a little bit more interesting, because I was the only LMP1 car out there, so I was a bit of a big advantage. Unfortunately, the safety car came out, so and then they red flagged it for some reason. So we only did 2 flying laps. So I made a lot of noise. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. I did. And it's on to the big one in a few hours.
Well, I know I enjoyed the noise. It sounds like a rocket ship out there. And this is kind of a special car for you. Obviously, you drove this actual car in the Le Mans 24 Hours. What does it feel like to be back out there driving this machine?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think, you know, the LMP1 cars nowadays are highly sophisticated machines that are super fast, but they don't just make the noise that these did in the day. So the noise is fantastic, and you know, it's a real pleasure to drive.
Great. Well, we wish you lots of luck for the 24 Hour. You better go and get ready. Back to you, Neil.
So there we go. There's the incredible access right now. We're only 15 minutes away from the race, and I could touch the car. I'd probably get shot. So this is the front row, the 2 Porsches. The key question there, we were looking at the tyres, is how will this team manage their tyres? Because we know this car is super quick, but will they be able to manage the degradation of the tyres with all that extra downforce? Meanwhile, these guys will be hunting them down for 24 hours. It's a marathon and a sprint, and it starts very soon. After the trouble for Chevrolet number 63, look, there's even tyres with cuts in them ready. They're not slicks. Maybe they're expecting rain. So car number 63, of course, the Chevrolet had a big crash in qualifying and will not take part. But I think Liz is with Oliver Gavin, who's in car number 64.
Thank you. I'm here with Ollie Gavin. This is your 15th Le Mans, am I right? That's incredible to even fathom. And you've got your whole family here. It's a really great time for you here standing on the grid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, this really is a special place. You know, Le Mans is an exceptionally great track, great, amazing, sort of passionate race. The French do make it very special here. And we're looking forward to it today. It's tough because we're down to 1 car. unfortunately the 63 car had a very unfortunate accident and they put it out of the race, but it means double the effort behind the 64. They'll be rooting for Tommy, Jordan and I, and hopefully we can come through and stand on that top step.
Well, of course, I'll be fighting for you guys as a US-run team, but you kind of are due some luck, I think, at Le Mans. It's been since 2011, I believe, since you last won this race. Kind of had a string of bad luck. What's going to be the plan to just try and keep it all together?
Just stay out of trouble, try and avoid all the incidents and accidents best you can, and just hope for that bit of luck. We've got a good game plan. We know what we're doing. Jordan and Tommy are well drilled. They've been here before. They know how to finish here on the podium or even win it. So, you know, we've got all the tools there to do it. It's just all about executing and just having that little bit of luck.
Well, I got my fingers crossed for you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Tom, we just saw you having a word with Loic and you're giving a thumbs up there. What did you say to Loic on the grid?
To Loic, I absolutely said nothing. It was a handshake and eye contact.
And that's important. Now, you're going to go and get in that car over there. Good luck. Do you think you will be able to bring it back in or just keep going for 24 hours?
I am promised. I'm sure there's a lot of safety devices to make sure that I will pull in. No, I'm here for the race, and what a build-up, what a fantastic event we are going to experience, and I'm just honored to be leading my last lap at Le Mans.
And it's an honor to see you here.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tom. I think back down there, Adelaide should be with Nicolas Prost.
Yes, Neil, I am with Nicolas. We saw the Porsche very, very fast. But what could be your objective, your own expectation?
You know, I think we have a much faster car than last year. It's a very long race. Obviously, we cannot fight with the free works team, top team. We have to first beat Nissan and beat Colles, so to finish first privateer, and then you know the hybrid systems are quite complicated. So I'm pretty sure they're going to run into some problems. If we can have good reliability, you know, there's a good chance of finishing in the top 5 and maybe even why not in the podium.
The big moment has arrived now. You will follow the start from the garage. What can you feel?
Obviously, it's a really exciting moment. You know, it's start of a long race. You know, a long race, long night, everything. But you know, it's my 8th time around here, so I'm getting a bit used to it. But it's always a bit of stress also, you know, you want to do very well. But yeah, I have 2 very good teammates. We have a very good engineer. We're ready and we are up for the fight now.
Thank you, Nicolas.
So a very familiar face there, Nicolas Prost in the Rebellion. We've got a little bit more time with you than we expected, Tom. Do you think any of the drivers here in this field are likely to beat your record?
Not during this race. But there's a lot of records in the race in total. There's some records which will fall during this race in total from other people. It's going to be a very, very fast race, and I'm no doubt that records are there to be broken. And if you speak about my personal record about the win, I look forward to congratulate somebody who will achieve that, because that will be a huge honor for me to celebrate what he would then have achieved when the day comes.
Now, obviously, you are an Audi ambassador, an Audi legend. You got 3 Porsches at the front. Final word before we come off air live and the race starts. What's your prediction for the race? Obviously, it's going to be tight. What do you think, head and heart?
No, it's I'm Grand Marshal. The whole race over all categories. I have never seen it so content before. It's incredibly close, difficult to pick, and that's what makes it so exciting. The drivers have never been fitter, certainly not the 9 drivers in the Audis. They are athletes today, and all the way down the field, you see they have looked up to that, they have seen that, and that's why the race, it can be small detail which can predict the winner at the end. But talk to me about midnight and we have a better answer.
I'll take you up on that. Tom Christensen, and we'll be back during the night, but keep watching here live on Eurosport. We have to clear the grid. We're being kicked off. Thanks very much for watching, but don't go anywhere because the Le Mans 24 Hours is about to start in 10 minutes. I'll be watching it, and so will you.
After all the build-up and all the excitement, the waiting is finally over. Get comfortable. Get those energy drinks at the ready, all the coffees, teas and anything else. 24 hours of great action-packed motor racing come up right after the break. Who will win? Audi, Porsche, Toyota or Nissan? You're about to find out, live here on Eurosport.
Welcome to Eurosport Live in the commentary box. Thank you, Neil Cole, Liz Halliday and Adelaide for all the grid work. We are now getting ready on the formation lap for what is now the world's greatest race. Just look at the background, if you don't believe me. 270,000 plus spectators. I'm Mark Cole. With me is Jeremy Shaw, and with us is Damien Faulkner, our driver expert. Gentlemen, good afternoon, and we are building up perhaps one of the classic Le Mans.
Absolutely right, Mark Cole. I think this is going to be, there's been a lot of build-up to this event, a lot of anticipation, and look, the cars are on the track. Look at the side of the track there as the cars go through the S's on their formation lap. It's going to be such a tremendous battle. The technology on these cars is absolutely amazing. Just the one fact, they're using 30% less fuel than they were just 2 years ago. Just unbelievable to me in the prototype ranks. And the GT battle is just going to be just as intense, Damien.
Well, good afternoon, guys. Great to be here. Beautifully sunny day, 25 degrees or thereabouts, and probably getting a little bit hotter. No sign of the rain that was forecasted earlier in the week, so that's good. Fabulous spectacle here. We've a shot overhead, but yeah, Jeremy, I mean it's building up to be a fabulous race. Of course, we've got in the P1s 4 manufacturers now, with Nissan joining the fold this year, although we're probably not in contention for victory, but we're on board in the number 17, and those guys are very much in the hunt for victory.
Yeah, Neil Jani then our record pole holder this year. That pole reduced down to 2:15, 2:16, 2:16, 2:17, 2:18 behind him, and that's all Porsches. Jani, Bernhardt and Hulkenberg, and they're getting closer and closer to the outright record for this circuit set by Peugeot in 2008, but the ASO think they're getting too fast. We want to peg them back now. P2, great performance by Richard Bradley, the man from Singapore, for KCMG.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very hotly contested class with lots of runners and lots of top drivers in there. I see Sam Bird name up on the screen there. Yeah, it's hugely contested. Number of different engine manufacturers, and mostly I think all on Nissan, different Michelin tires rather, all in different chassis as well. So fabulous contest, and it's impossible to predict the winner.
Jeremy, Aston Martin have really claimed both GT Pro and GT Am, and we thought the Corvettes maybe were going to be full on this year, but big problems for them.
Yeah, unfortunately we're only going to see one of the factory Corvettes in this race. Jan Magnussen, a huge crash on Thursday night. That car, not only is it not been able to be repaired for this race, it's already back at the factory in the United States, and they're hoping to repair it for another race in the Tutor United Sports Car Championship at Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, big dramas there. But the other car is fast, and the Oliver Gavin, Tommy Milner and Jordan Taylor, they've got as good a chance as anybody in this very, very tightly contested field. Yeah, there's very little to choose between the different manufacturers, I think, in ultimate pace in GT.
And then just to compound the injury, one of the sister cars running in Pro-Am by Labra, that was crashed heavily this morning in the warm-up. Exactly the same place as Magnussen.
Exactly the same place. Thankfully not exactly the same cause of the incident. Mechanical failure on Jan Magnussen's car, a driver error, I think. It was Gianluca Roda who went off the road in the Porsche curves this morning. There was a lot of damage to the right-hand side of that car, both front and rear corners. I saw the left front was hanging off, but apparently the damage on the right rear was even worse. But they got that car out. It was on the grid. It did a reconnaissance lap before that, so they are good to go.
So not since the end of the Group C days, when we had 8 manufacturers involved, have we seen such depth and quality in the field. Just look at these shots. I mean, this is magnificent. Anyone who loves sports car racing, anyone who loves motor racing, you can be nothing but gladdened in your heart.
Just huge crowds here. I mean, we're situated here in the Ford chicane, and look across the road, we can see, I mean, it's got to be 8-10 deep there against the barriers. It's like that at all the spectator points all the way around the track. Tremendous crowd, perfect weather conditions, and you know, look at that crowd there. It's absolutely magnificent. The atmosphere has been electric all week long, and now just moments away from the start of the race. Yeah, we talked just briefly about the weather, perhaps. As you can see, it's absolutely picture perfect. There was a lot of talk about rain, particularly tomorrow, but we're hearing now that's quite unlikely. A lot of rain yesterday, perhaps that's gone all out of the way, and maybe we're in for an all-green race.
And David, you yourself are going to be racing at Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks. You're our driver expert here today, and one thing that's really stood stood out amongst all the quality, all the factory teams, all the experience. We've also got 46 rookie drivers here this year.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I think it's great to see, because there's the old sort of well-known rhetoric that, you know, the questions from the team bosses, you know, how much experience have you got? So I think it's fabulous to see that amount of rookie drivers. And, you know, I think we saw one Richie Stanaway on pole, at least one driver, rookie driver. So in the GTE Pro class, in fact, he's in the starting car as well.
This is what we don't want already on the formation map. We've got a problem for a Ferrari. He's got going again. Maybe he's rebooted the electrics, which you can do nowadays, can't you? But
yeah, everything's, I mean, there's just so many electrical systems, and it's almost like when your computer crashes, you just have to sort of reboot it. So I would imagine over the course of the next 24 hours, you'll see several points where cars stop, their lights will go out, and that's them just rebooting the system. Hopefully it'll not happen for many.
So we're on board with Ollie Gavin just then in the Corvette.
Yeah, and they're pretty confident down there at Corvette Racing. They know they've got a good car. They haven't perhaps shown the ultimate pace. They didn't get out to set a lap time in the final session. Let's look at Brendan Hartley and Mark Webber, who will be sharing their car with Timo Bernhard, who will start the race in that number 17 car today. Yeah, you know, the Corvettes are strong, and they are going to be, I think they're going to be right on the pace. They're confident. They know they've got a good car. Last year was the first time here with the C7R, and that year of experience is exactly what you need. It's huge benefits coming to this second year around.
This is where the safety car is about to tell the field now to form up in grid formation as they come through sector 29, which is just as they come through the Porsche curves. Gradually they'll be getting side by side as they come down through here. And there's this magnificent 3 Porsches, 3 Audis, 2 Toyotas, 2 Rebellions at the top of the P1 field. A few cars sent back down the field, including the Bicolis car, the AER powered car, because the drivers didn't manage to hit the 110% time, nor did the 3 Nissans.
No, all 3 Nissans at the back as well. And also in GT, we're seeing the heavily favoured car number 71 of Olivier Beretta. That is starting at the very back of the field as well, because he wasn't within 120% of the pole overall, which is fairly bizarre ruling, because it's very competitive, that GT field, and he wasn't far off the pace.
We just saw 2 presidents there watching the start. Francois Hollande of France, Jean Todt of the FIA. We have got Tom Christensen as the Grand Marshal and Bill Ford as the starter.
Anybody who's anybody is here this weekend.
This is Le Mans 2015, the 83rd edition of the world's biggest and most famous race. 55 cars on the grid, lined up by the safety car. Got 4 mega factory teams. We got the President of France. What more could you ask for? 24 degrees, sunny afternoon, and we're about to go racing over the next 24 hours. Safety car pulls off. Porsches 18 and 17, Neil Jani and Timo Bernhard holding the field. We are go, go, go.
Yeah, fabulous shot here, and the roar of all the engines. Of course, these guys will be, you know, not racing too heavily right now, but they'll, you know, they'll just be trying to get settled in, trying to get this first lap out of the way, get settled into a rhythm without any dramas or touches with any other cars.
Is that what you told them, Damien? Look, they were side by side, weren't they, all the way up to the Dunlop chicane there?
Yeah, but they're not going to be taking any chances on this first lap, I'm sure.
If you need convincing about the power
of the crowd,
if you need convincing about the power of hybrid engines, look how the hybrids are breaking away from the rest of the field instantly.
Yeah, it's amazing. You talk to any of the drivers out there, they're coming through Tertre Rouge onto the Mulsanne straight. A couple of the Audis there looking to change positions in the 4th and 5th position. But you talk to any other kind of the GT drivers or the LMP2 drivers, they're used to, you know, the faster cars pulling away, but the pace with which these hybrid cars pull away coming out of the corners is just mind-boggling, Damien.
It's crazy. Of course, they're going to have what, maybe 1 or 2 laps, or maybe a bit more, before they start lapping other cars, GTs and stuff. So they'll be enjoying this now, because it's probably the first traffic-free, certainly for Timo Bernhard, who's just taken the lead in the number 17 Porsche.
And the two Toyotas there, well up in the mix at the moment. Big news this morning from Toyota. They are going to go proper hybrid, twin-turbo, smaller engines next year, drop the super capacitor and go for battery retrieval systems. They've realised that they're falling behind. They are going to come back with a vengeance. But maybe, who knows, they can still do well this
Well, we were just talking to Mike Conway this morning, actually, who's racing one of these Toyotas. And he was certainly more confident for the race. He said they didn't even attempt to go into qualifying mode because they know they're a little bit off, and they just concentrated on race pace. And he reckoned that the delta between the Toyota and the front of the field in qualifying would be a fraction of that. So that's good news.
Yeah, and as you can see here, they're just coming off the Mulsanne corner, coming up towards Indianapolis. This is another of the 4 places on the track where the cars reach the better part of 210 miles an hour. It's an amazing racetrack. There's 8.5 miles around, a lot of it public road still, and you can see all of the P1 cars there still nose to tail as they about 3/4 of the way around the first lap. Here now under heavy braking for the left-hander at Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, because it's banked and it's a short squirt up to Arnage, perhaps the most difficult corner on the circuit. If you judge your speed wrong, whoop, you're in that wall. Rebellion, they're hanging on to the coattails of everybody, and Rebellion, interestingly, Jeremy, was the second fastest of all cars in qualifying. 3:41 to Porsche, 3:39 to Reb.
Yeah, that's right. That new twin-turbo V6 AER engine developed in Basildon in Essex in England, and it's really showing its paces. As you say, remarkably, the second fastest car in a straight line in the qualifying sessions. They don't have the, I mean, it's a fraction of the budget that the factory teams are spending, so a great effort by the boys there at AER and that Rebellion Racing team. The car, that numbers 12 and 13, they've only had one brief test. Look at that battle for third place here. One of the Audis coming past. That is the car number 8 there with Marco Bonner. No, it isn't. It's Loic Duval there making a move, and Dr. Ulrich there clapping showing his appreciation in the Audi garage.
Yeah, these guys mean business, don't they? And even we saw in the warm-up this morning the Audi having a fantastic pace, a 3:19 lap in warm-up, a couple of seconds clear of the field. Obviously that could have been traffic, but you see the emotion in Dr. Ulrich's face there. So these guys are up for the Audis. Look, fantastic. They look to have a fantastic race pace, and yeah, we're having an exciting opening couple of laps.
That was Loic Duval pushing Nico Hülkenberg. Yes, the Formula 1 driver having his first Le Mans being pushed down. Now this is the danger spot for everyone. When you come out onto Tertre, don't do this. Don't get 4 wheels off, because you will get penalised.
Well, we saw that in the first lap, I think, from one of those guys going all the way off, but I think they might give them a break just when they're all in a huddle together. But you can hear the hybrid system just there.